Have you ever looked at the Calamity sprite and wondered, could I make it look more realistic? Higher quality? You see, the Calamity mod has one of the best sprites in modded Terraria, especially the weapons, with beautiful designs that are made to be realistic looking and highly detailed. And they actually are. But it's just not realistic enough, is it? So let's upscale it, enhance the quality, maybe even add a bit of a flair. I am jpallgraphic, and this is Illustrating Calamity Mod Weapons, Part 1. The weapons that I'll be illustrating in this video are Terraria's Calamity Mod Weapons, specifically 2 pre-hardmode weapons, the Crystalline and Plasma Staff. Let's start off with the Crystalline. Crystalline is a rogue weapon that is crafted out of wolfram knives, diamonds, and fallen stars. When used, it throws a gemstone dagger that splits itself into 3 more replicas before in contact with an enemy or a tile. Looking at the sprite, it looks pretty simple. It's a crystal blade with a golden hilt. For the blade, I can imagine it to be rough and unpolished, like a raw gemstone or an obsidian knife. Why is it cyan when diamonds are white? I don't really know. As for the hilt, I have a lot of questions. Where did the golden shade of the hilt come from? Where did the ruby come from? To start off, I made a sketch, the blade and hilt. For the hilt, I started off with a rough sketch, then added some refinements, to finally adding some basic details, which were refined over and over again to add a bit more interest. It has 4 main components: crossguard, this part with the ruby, a handle, and the pommel. As you can see, I gave the weapon a bit of a perspective for some 3D action. After sketching and refining, I added the base colors. Then it's detail time. Let's start off with the blade. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted the blade to be rough looking, like a raw gemstone. So, I made it that way, through a bunch of strokes that served as reflections and refractions. In reality, however, I really had no idea what I was doing, with only a reference to guide me. Lots of refinements had to be made. I didn't want to make it look too busy. After the blade, I dealt with the hilt. The hilt is metallic gold, and I still don't really know where the gold color comes from. But what I know is that our hilt is going to be shiny. At the same time, I refined the blade, mainly the color and lighting. Oh, and I nearly forgot, the support. It keeps the blade in place. I know it's not in the sprite, but artistic freedom exists. And we're not done yet. There's still the handle. Is it cloth? Leather? Who knows? A bit of detailing can go a long way. Yeah, that doesn't look good. And last but not the least, the ruby. Unlike the blade, which is rough, the gem has a pear cut. Or at least that's what this gemstone chart tells me. I still don't know where the ruby comes from. And there we have it. That's the Crystalline complete. Or is it? I feel like I could add a little bit more detail. I could also see some very obvious flaws or areas that require a bit of refinement, in my opinion. So a bit of a spin, and there we have it. That's the Crystalline complete. I don't really know what else to say other than, as my first Calamity Mod weapon illustration, it captures the Crystalline sprite pretty well, while still incorporating my own design into it. Anyway, if you have any suggestions or critique regarding this illustration, please do comment about it. Well then, let's get on with the next illustration. The Plasma Rod. It's an interesting looking weapon with an interesting name. From what I see, it looks like 2 metal pieces attach themselves to the ends of a branch, with an orb or a ball joining the party. The ball is what really intrigues me, but before we get into that, let's illustrate the weapon. To start off, I sketched the sprite. I basically copied the form of the rod and assumed certain materials for each part of the staff. This, a branch. This, metal. This, clairvoyance. Anyway, now with the basic sketch complete, I added extra details and refined the form to make it look more interesting. Now that's much better. If it just looked like the original outline without all of the extra details, it would look boring, which doesn't really bode well for my audience retention. The metal bit holding the ball is segmented instead of perfectly smooth, just because I think it would look more interesting to look at. To add on to that, I etched some runes on the base. These are actually supposed to spell something and aren't just a random mix of letters. This, Plasma Rod. Now, these are actual runic characters, but what I didn't know is that they are from the Ultima series. Anyway, details aside, I added the base colors and started detailing the ball of the rod. With that, let's segue to today's subchapter. What is the Plasma Rod? The Plasma Rod is a mage weapon that is dropped from the Goblin Sorcerer in the Goblin Army Invasion, or from Tim. When used, it fires a shadow beam that inflicts shadow flame when aimed at an enemy, or splits into 8 smaller beams if aimed on any solid surface or tile. Now, the sprite is very interesting, especially the ball of the rod. But before we delve into that, I just want you to pay attention to its name. Plasma Rod. Why is it called that? And furthermore, what is plasma? It's basically gas, but heated to such an extreme degree where it conducts electricity. Think of lightning. That flash of light is plasma. That lightning is a form of electricity. Now, have you heard of a Tesla coil? Those sparks and arcs are also plasma. And if you look at the sprite of the rod, specifically the ball, the base color is black with pink pixels scattered within. Through my own research and assumptions, those pink pixels are probably sparks of plasma emitted by a Tesla coil inside the rod, I think. Of course, it's a magic weapon, so there might be magic involved in there, and there isn't just a mini Tesla coil inside the rod. Basically, something, whether magic or technology, produces plasma like in a Tesla coil, which is where it gets its name. Done and dusted, can we just get to the interesting part? I detailed the ball of the rod to contain some electricity within it, starting with the arcs and sparks, glow, highlights, more sparks, then finishing it off with more glow emanating from the ball. With the main attraction done, I detailed the rest of the rod, starting off with the branch, then the metal bits. And you know what? While I'm at it, I might as well add a bit more detail to the ball. Now you might look at this and say to yourself, this doesn't make sense. How can the arcs exit the orb? If the orb is a solid surface, surely the arcs are unable to pass through it. And to that I say, you're correct. But isn't this the same weapon that shoots the beam outside of the ball? Regardless, let's finish the illustration by adding some magical effects onto the ball of the rod. And with that, that's the Plasma Rod complete. I really like this weapon because of its unique design, which in turn opens itself up to interpretation. My interpretation of it is plasma, electricity, lightning, and Tesla coil. What came out of those words? This. Again, if you have any suggestions or critique regarding this illustration, comment about it. Let me give you 5 seconds to look at these weapons. If you want to see me measure the size of Terraria's mobs and bosses, click this video over here or this video over here.